Regular show ran for 8 seasons and gave us hundreds of episodes of some of the wildest, most creative storytelling in cartoon history. But no matter how many times you've rewatched it, there are details buried in this show that most people completely missed. Today we're going through 10 of them. Facts 1. Regular show was originally named 2 in the AM/PM, which was a surreal, much darker short film that J.G. Quintel made while he was in college. It was nothing like the final show. It was strange and pretty unsettling. But the DNA of Mordecai and Rigby came from that project. Mordecai was actually based on Quintel himself. Fact 2. Mordecai and Rigby's voices are both performed by real people connected to the show's creation. J.G. Quintel voiced Mordecai, and William Salyers voiced Rigby. But here's the detail people miss. Quintel based Mordecai's personality heavily on himself as a young adult. So a lot of Mordecai's awkward relationship moments and indecisiveness are actually true. Fact 3. The park exists in a version of the United States, but the show was actually produced in Burbank, California. However, the aesthetic and setting pull very heavily from suburbs in Georgia, where Quintel grew up. That's why the park has that specific mid-American feel rather than a coastal city vibe. Fact 4. Death has appeared as a character and speaks with a heavy metal style, but his design was inspired by classic depictions of the Grim Reaper mixed with rock and roll culture. His hair, his attitude, his love of music all ties into this idea that death isn't something cold and distant, but something woven into the fabric of regular life. Fact 5. The VHS tape aesthetic used in certain episodes and in the intro is completely intentional. J.G. Quintel grew up in the 80s and 90s, and regular show is absolutely soaked in nostalgia for that era, the music, the fashion, the technology. Those lo-fi visual choices weren't just style, they were a love letter to a specific period of childhood. Fact 6. Benson's full name is Benson Dunwoody. Dunwoody is actually a city in Georgia which ties back to Quintel's roots and the show's setting inspiration. Fact 7. Pop's home planet, La La Land, was introduced extremely late in the series, but was actually foreshadowed in very subtle ways throughout earlier seasons. Pop's inability to process violence, his childlike purity, his complete confusion at normal human behavior, those weren't just quirks. They were hints that he wasn't from Earth at all. Fact 8. The show has a surprisingly high continuity rate for a cartoon. Events from early seasons actually matter in later ones. Mordecai's relationships, Rigby's relationship with his brother Don, Skip's backstory, these threads are planted early and paid off much later. It rewards people who rewatch. Fact 9. Margaret and CJ were written specifically to contrast different aspects of Mordecai's character. Margaret represented his romantic idealism, while CJ represented his ability to actually be in a functioning relationship. The fact that he ended up with neither of them, and instead found love with a painting come to life, was the show's way of saying that Mordecai needed to grow before he was ready for anything real. Final fact. The series finale was deliberately written to parallel the first episode. The idea was that everything that happened across 8 seasons was one complete arc, the park crew going from slacking off doing nothing to saving the entire universe. From the smallest stakes possible to the largest. That symmetry was intentional, and it's one of the reasons the ending hits so hard for people who watched from the beginning. If any of these surprised you, let me know in the comments which one got you the most. And subscribe, because we are just getting started.